Hello, my name is Brian Mounts. I run turfmechanic.com and the channel you're watching. Today we're going to be talking about fescue. More specifically, we're going to be talking about tall fescue. This is Kentucky 31 tall fescue, and this is Turf Type Tall Fescue. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 main differences between these two grass types in case you are looking to overseed your existing lawn or plant a new lawn. As you probably know already, fescue, tall fescue, is a cold season grass. It's perfect for growing in the northern regions or the colder regions of the United States and to some extent into the transition zones. But let's get into the differences, why you would choose one over the other. For the most part, is a cheaper grass seed. It's more economical to buy, especially in bulk, and it's a better grass seed to use out in, let's call it a field grass setting. Some setting where you just want to suppress the weeds and have a lawn to look at from far away. Kentucky 31 was originated in Kentucky in 1931, and 40 years later, Turf Type Tall Fescue came around. Turf Type Tall Fescue was supposed to be an improvement over the Kentucky 31 variety. They're both tall fescues, but this is different. Kentucky 31 in this pot is taller than the Turf Type over here. Both of these were cut to the same height at the same exact time just a few days ago. So as you can see, the Kentucky 31 is growing faster than the Turf Type Tall Fescue. So if you put this into a lawn setting, you're going to have to mow this more frequently because it's growing faster and taller. I don't know if you can tell on camera or not, but at about 8.5, almost 2 months, 8.5 weeks, about 2 months of age, this grass, the Kentucky 31, is a lighter green color than the Turf Type Tall Fescue. Now both of these are planted in the same growing medium. It's good soil and it's the same, so it's not like this is getting more nutrients to grow faster, and it's not like this is getting more nutrients to grow darker. That is the characteristics of these grass types. Lots of people call Kentucky 31 more of a lime green, whereas Turf Type Tall Fescue is more of a dark green, and you can see that already from grass that has only been growing for 2 months. One of the reasons that Turf Type Tall Fescue has started taking over in lawn situations is because it clumps in tighter clumps. Let's call it tighter clumps. Both of these are clump grasses, which means that they don't spread through their roots and rhizome systems because they don't have any. They spread, the sprout comes out of the ground and then they kind of spread and they just continue clumping out. Kentucky 31 is well known to be very clumpy. If you find Kentucky 31 just sparsely planted throughout a lawn, it will have big clumps and the whole lawn will feel lumpy. And that is one of the reasons that people don't like having it in the lawn. Now, what I'm finding through my experimentation is that if you can densely plant your Kentucky 31 seed, it really minimizes the excessive clumpiness of the grass and it really kind of evens it out. If you look way down deep, you'll still see that it's trying to spread wide, but because there's so many plants trying to spread wide, it becomes relatively even. If you don't sow this thick enough, it will be clumpy, and if you've got it, if you're trying to put it in an actual lawn, it might become quite annoying. And that's why this was developed, or one of the reasons why this was developed, because the clumps aren't quite so dramatic and it ends up performing better in an actual lawn space, making it feel more smooth and even throughout the yard. Again, both of these are going to do better if you can plant them densely and get them all to germinate evenly throughout the yard. What you'll also find with Kentucky 31 compared to Turf Type Tall Fescue is the individual grass blades, as the plant matures, are continuing to grow wider and they're more coarse, which means the grass blades are harder to cut clean with a lawnmower, and if you're walking on them or say laying on them on the ground in your yard, they are coarse. Now it's not like sandpaper, but it's not as soft as some of the finer grass blades, and not as soft and fine as the Turf Type Tall Fescue. That is another improvement of the Turf Type Tall Fescue, is the grass blades, although they do still get wide compared to many other turf grasses, they are nowhere near as wide and coarse as the Kentucky 31. It is a more pleasant experience to lay down and roll around in this grass than it is this grass. Both of these grass types are pretty much the same when it comes to cold tolerance. They're cold season grasses, and they're grown up north in the northern parts of the continental United States and other areas around the world. However, Kentucky 31, although it was developed in Kentucky, doesn't perform as well as you go south into the transition zone. Turf Type Tall Fescue has more of a heat tolerance than Kentucky 31, which means this is able to withstand warmer summer temperatures much better than the Kentucky 31. This will start showing heat stress faster than this one will. One of the problems with the thick blades of the Kentucky 31, which I already mentioned, has to do with it's harder for lawnmowers to cut this grass clean, which means lots of lawnmowers, especially if you let it get overgrown, will rip through the grass blades and basically damage the grass blades. A lawnmower that cuts this cleanly is great, but if you start ripping the grass blades, then those grass blades become susceptible to disease and fungal attacks. Now, these grass blades are wide also, but they are easier for lawnmowers to cut clean. Therefore, it's not because the grass is more resistant to disease and fungal attacks, it's that the mowing causes this to be more susceptible to disease and fungal attacks. Most lawnmowers are going to cut this better than they are going to cut this, and because of that, you are going to struggle with disease and fungal issues with Kentucky 31 much more frequently than you are with Turf Type Tall Fescue. Both of these are fairly good at drought tolerance because they have very deep root systems. Now, this pot is probably only about 6 inches of soil. The root systems for these plants can easily go 6 inches deep. In excellent conditions, they can go a little bit deeper than that. Because of that, they are really great for large pads of grass, those large properties that don't get watered very easily, don't have irrigation systems. They will hold up better to low water inputs. For the most part, those are the main differences between these two grasses. I've been growing these in big pots, and I've been growing Kentucky 31 in these small pots. The small pots is really interesting to see the drought tolerance because they dry out so quickly, but yet the grass still remains fairly healthy. I am doing updates to this throughout the season here on the channel. I hope you subscribe to see those. In future updates soon, I'll be releasing some videos where I'm comparing the tall fescues to the fine fescues. The fine fescues are not usually used as a standalone product in a lawn, as a standalone grass type in a lawn, but they are mixed in to usually sun and shade mix bags of grass seed because of their shade tolerance. If you're considering putting down tall fescue, fine fescue might be good to mix into those shady areas. Hit the subscribe button and you'll find that video coming out very soon. I would also like to invite you to go down into the description and take a look at the link that heads over to the website where I have more pictures and more structured information outlining the differences between these two grass types. I hope this video was as helpful as it possibly could have been for you. If it was, hit the like button, and I hope that I will see you in the next video.